Hi, Alice. Hi, Alice. Can you hear us? You're good? Okay.
Yes, I just have to turn up my volume. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks. We'll
great.
start in a few minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's like the old days.
Alice, do you have any good snacks in your desk drawer?
No, we don't. Nothing too exciting in there.
The regular meeting of the City Council was held in person on Thursday, April 27th, 2023 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on April 25th, 2023 at 9:28 a.m. This meeting is being recorded and is live on SATV. Counselors absent. Counselors absent. Counselor Watson-Felt. Joining us remotely is Council Merkel. Council President Stott is presiding. Counselor Hepworth moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Matter carries. I now request that everyone rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councillor McLean. Thank you. Public testimony. Public testimony is not to exceed 15 minutes. It's not a public hearing or question and answer period. Sign up must occur 30 minutes prior to the meeting. Signing up by email or phone will not be accepted anymore, but you can sign up two ways, using the sign up browser in the city clerk's office or on the form posted in the agenda. For public comment this evening, we have 3 that have signed up for public comment. First, we have Mr. Kapantis. If you could please make your way to the podium and begin your public comment.
Got it.
Please state your name and address if you'd like to be included in the record, and you may begin.
Good evening, Steve Kapantis, 23 Wisteria Street, Salem, Mass. First, congratulations to the council. Tonight's the first night since the SGC ruling that you haven't had listed on the agenda that it's a requirement for the public to disclose what they want to speak about. And that's what I want to talk about more about public comments. When the SJC ruling, all of you received it. All of you received a letter from the city attorney. And some of the comments on the council floor were immediately, how do we control content? I'm going to focus on one comment from a councilor that said, well, we don't want members of the public up here reading from a book. So guess what we're doing tonight? We're reading from a book. I chose a book that I think is appropriate for my audience called Robert's Rules for Dummies. So I am going to talk about making main motions. There's 8 steps to making a main motion. I won't go through all 8, but I'm going to go through one. Step 4, when you second a motion. I don't know if I'll read from the book or just talk about it, but based on my conversations with previous councilors and even current councilors, do you know the word second don't have to be said? The second is just indicating that you want that topic to be discussed and voted on. Doesn't say that you're in favor of it, doesn't say that you're opposed to it. In fact, even if you start talking about it when you haven't been recognized by the president and you're not following the rules, it is still an effective second and it should be discussed. Only when there's no indication of wanting to talk about it is there no second. So I didn't start my timer tonight, but probably a minute or 2. But we can always pick up on another chapter or topic. I suggest you get the book. It's pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kapanis, for your comments. Next, we have Miss Susan Moulton, who is joining us remotely. Ms. Moulton, if you are ready to speak, please raise your hand or use the raise hand function on Zoom, and we will allow you to speak.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm a little out of order. I think later on you were about to acknowledge the receipt of a gift from the Friends of the Salem Common that I'm president of for trees in the Salem Common. So I just wanted to add a couple of words. Within the next couple of weeks, the Salem Common will receive about 34 new trees. To my knowledge, this is the first time in about 100 years that this kind of an investment has been made, and some of us are filled with joy. The mission of the Friends is to work with the city to improve the common. And since 2021, with the support of Senator Lovely and then Senator Tucker, we've obtained about $225,000 in new monies that are solely to be used for the common. The city set aside $75,000 of that money for trees. And last year they spent 20 to prune it, and pretty soon we will see $50,000 at work that will produce 28 new trees. The Friends are very happy to augment that contribution with $4,000 of our own money. So I just think there's some excitement here that I want to mention, and I want to thank the members of my board for improving this investment, specifically Annie Harris from the Essex National Heritage Commission, Mary Butler from the Peabody Essex Museum, Pam Messenger from the Friends of Post Office Square in Boston, Mary Fran Coyne, landscape designer, and Salem residents Liz Aberg and Marianne Curtin. And a special thank you to Michael Krauntz, who is the Signature Parks project manager, as well as councilors Watson Felt, Hapworth, and Prosnewski, who work with us, who are passionate about the common and support what we're doing. So that motion will come before you, and I just wanted to make those comments that we are excited about what's coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Moulton, for your comments. Next signed up for public comment, we have Mr. Malfoy. If there is a Mr. Malfoy in the chambers this evening, please make your way to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Oh, don't see anybody by that name this evening here, so we will move on. Up next, we have hearings.
With an order from National Grid to install conduits on Highland Ave, number 373.
All those appearing in favor, please make your way to the podium if you're in chambers and state your name and address for the record.
Sabita Mahabir Shihi, representing National Grid, 44 River Street, Beverly, Massachusetts. This is to provide service to the new company going in at that location.
Thank you. Any members in the audience that are here to speak in favor or on Zoom, please use the raised hand function. Anyone in chambers or via Zoom who is here appearing in opposition may make your way to the podium. May make your way to the podium to speak. Please state your name and address for the record and your comments.
My name is Charles Spulio. I'm the owner of property at 376 Highland Ave, which is directly across the street. So the last time that National Grid put in power lines, which I believe 1995 or 1996, they dug up that whole area. So I built and I own St. Jean's Credit Union building, as well as the rest of the block. So I own 450 feet from their property all the way to the corner of Ravenna Avenue. So I can't tell by this map that was submitted that looks like it was drawn by a 2-year-old. There's no stamp on it. There's no engineering stamp on this thing. And I'd like to know specifically where they're going to be digging and disturbing, because we have irrigation system that runs parallel right along the side. Last time they did work there, they did a fair amount of damage. They repaired some of it. So I just want to make it known that if that happens again, I'll be back in front of the city council. If you approve it, or if they come onto my property to do anything, conduct their work, that I'll definitely oppose it. They weren't very nice the last time. And the development across the street for 4 months when it started between July or August of last year was nothing but a problem. Dust. I mean, I complained to the Board of Health. I complained to the city engineer. I complained to everybody, the planning department. I spent 28 years on the planning board of the city of Salem. My last date as the chairman, where I moved to Beverly. I don't know. I mean, this is a public hearing. Why wasn't this published in Salem News? I got a letter in the mail from city council. So where is the public notice in the Salem News? That's what I'd like to see. Or tell me where the date is, and I'll go find it, because they get the Salem News delivered every day that it's printed. So that's what I'd like to know. Because frankly, if you do that, send me a letter, that's really an illegal notice for a public hearing. It's just a letter. notify me this is gonna happen. So, there's public notice. So that,
I won't say the director or the abutters that are within a certain region are notified by mail.
sorry?
The mail notification. I'm not sure about the publication in the newspaper. I don't
Well,
think
it's a
that's
public hearing.
required.
So since when do you hold a public hearing and you don't publish it in the Salem News? You do that for the planning board, city council, licensing board, every other board in the city of Salem, you publish it in the Salem News. So how did this get skipped over?
This is I would say a petition public hearing for a utility pole. Not every utility pole
No,
is,
it's not a utility.
or
But they want.
conduit, sorry. I'm so used to
Conduit,
utility
right.
poles.
So they're gonna dig up Highland Avenue again, after we just got it paved after 40 years. They're gonna dig it up and run it from the southbound side to the northbound side. They're gonna go all the way across the road to run a conduit. And they don't even have a water line yet, because while they were working before they paved Highland Avenue, I called the city engineer and said, why don't you let them put the water line in now before they pave the road? Nothing. So now they're gonna dig it up to put a water line in, and they're gonna dig it up to put an electric line. I've never seen anything so backwards in my entire life. It's really, I gotta tell you, the only reason I came all the way here from Beverly after I had my dinner was just to say my piece, but I just think, I don't know what you guys do in Salem now. I have no idea. It's crazy. It's nuts. So, do whatever you need to do, but if there's a problem, I'll be back in front of you as soon as something happens. And I will complain to whoever I can in the city. It'll probably fall on deaf ears again, because it didn't do anything the last time I complained. We pay a lot of taxes in the city. My family's been there for 95 years. And I gotta put up with slight inconvenience, I get that. The man's doing a nice job on this project. All I ask is when something goes wrong, the city responds. And they didn't. And they probably won't. So, Bill, are you the council president? Your name is?
Megan Stott.
Good. Well, you'll be here for a while.
The rest of the year.
Rest of the year, good. Okay, that's great. I'll be back. There's a problem. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments,
Okay.
and feel free to stay for the rest of the conversation as well. Yep, thank you. Counselor Marcillo.
Thank you, President Stott. Sabita. Thank you. Can you give a little bit more detail on exactly where the conduit is going and what will be dug?
Stated on the sketch, it's going from the pole and 5 feet across the sidewalk to his property line.
And this is on the
It's on the odd side.
odd side of the street, so across the street from the St. Jean's Credit Union. So it will not cross Highland Avenue to the other side. It will not dig into the new paved road. It's all on the sidewalk.
No, and this went before the state for a state permit also.
Correct. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm trying to pull up the map myself, so just confirming it's on the odd side of Highland. It is not going across that nicely new paved road.
No.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Any other comments or questions from the audience? In opposition or favor? And instead of listing them all out, we will just confirm that National Grid will follow all the requirements set forth by the engineering department in installing and finishing this conduit. I'm not saying.
I will speak to the contractor doing the work for that to occur.
Okay, thank you.
And also just, sorry.
Please.
Also that the sidewalk will be replaced, whatever is dug up, it will be replaced, the whole
That's
square.
Yeah.
Mhm. And in-kind material, yes, thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Pulio? Yep, you may. Yeah, if you come, Sabita will step out. You can, just so we can all hear you.
What's going on? Who do I contact? Let me ask you that.
Sure, yeah. So I would start with contacting the engineering department and your ward counselor. So I actually don't know the odds and the evens on Highland Ave. So That would either be Counselor McLean or Counselor Marcillo. Counselor McLean.
But don't contact Mass National Grid.
You can contact them as well, Sabita, if you have contact information, but you probably don't know who the project manager is going to be yet for this. But the engineering department will know who the project manager is going to be.
All engineering, they can be that.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's fair.
Yep. Thank you. Cool. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Counselor Marcillo,
Thank you, President Stott. I move to close the public hearing.
Counselor Marcillo moves to close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo, Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. Thank you. On the motion to close the public hearing, 10 members voted, 10 in the affirmative. Hearing is closed. Counselor Marcillo,
Thank you. I move that this be granted by roll call vote.
Counselor Marcillo moves that this be granted by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. On the question of National Grid to install conduits on Highland Ave, be granted, 10 voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Thank you. Thank you, Sabita. Appointments and reappointments.
We have held from the last meeting the mayor's appointment of the following to serve on various boards and commissions with terms to expire: Philip John, Charlene Bailey, John Butterworth, and Hannah Ostoff.
Did you skip one?
I don't think so. 4.
Counselor Presniewski?
Thank you. I move that these appointments be confirmed by roll call vote.
Counselor Presniewski moves that these be confirmed by roll call vote. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Counselor Cohen?
Thank you, President Stott. I do want to mention that I did speak to Hannah Ossoff, and she's an architect, very excited about this appointment. She'll be an alternate on the zoning board, and also Ms. Jack Butterworth, who has been serving with ECHO, and I look forward to his good work on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board. Thank you.
Any further discussion? On the motion to confirm the appointees, Philip John, Charlene Bailey, and Jack John Butterworth, and Hannah Ostroff. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
and Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. Thank you. On the mayor's appointment of John Phillip to the Cemetery Commission, Charlene Bailey to the Beautification Committee, John Jack Butterworth to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, and Hannah Ostroff to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. The matter carries. Someone like to suspend the rules so the appointees can speak? Someone? Counselor Watson-Felt?
Thank you, President Stott. I move to suspend the rules in case any of our guests would like to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If any of the appointees are in chambers this evening, would you like to make your way to the podium and say a few words?
Thank you, counselors, for the votes of support on my behalf and the behalf of the other nominees. I was a newspaper reporter for a number of years, and you'll all be happy to know I'm retired, so I'm not going to ask you any tough questions. I look forward to serving on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board. It's an important job. I think Salem is in transition in a number of ways, and this is one way in which we can make a difference. And thank you very much again for your support. If nobody has any questions for me, tough or otherwise, I'll be happy to let you continue.
Thank you, Mr. Butterworth. Appreciate your comments. Thank you for your willingness to serve. If we have anyone out in Zoom land that would like to speak, please raise your hand and the city clerk will allow you to speak.
You should be able to speak if you unmute yourself.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Hannah Ostoff. I am an architect. I've been practicing for just about 10 years now and living in Salem for 2. So really excited to be a part of something bigger in Salem. I love this town and I'm excited to be a part of this. So thank you for voting me on tonight.
Thank you, Hannah. You're getting a round of applause from here in chambers.
Oh, thank
for
you.
your willingness to serve. If Philip or Charlene are in the audience in Zoom. Move on then. Further appointments and reappointments.
We've held from the last meeting the mayor's reappointment of Charles Barton to serve on the City of Salem's Board of Registrars with a term to expire March 1st, 2026.
Counselor Presnowski.
Thank you. I move that this appointment be confirmed by roll call vote.
Counselor Presnowski moves that this be confirmed by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you. I've known Mr. Barton for several years, and he has contributed on a number of things with the city. He continues to be someone who's involved in the lives of many of us and helps out whenever he can. So I welcome this appointment with open arms, and I'm not sure whether he's available to speak, but if he is,
Reappointments generally do not.
okay. So I move to confirm.
Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson-Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presnowski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Yes. Thank you. On the mayor's reappointment of Charles Barton to the Board of Registrars, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We've held from the last meeting the mayor's reappointment of Josh Toriel to serve on the City of Salem's Planning Board with a term to expire May 24th, 2028.
Counselor Presnowski.
I move that Mr. Terriel's appointment be confirmed by roll call vote.
Counselor Presnowski moves that this be confirmed by roll call vote. Under discussion.
We all know Josh, and I think we all welcome his ability to help us out a lot more with his past knowledge and what he did with the city council, and also for the future of Salem. So I welcome him aboard and congratulate him. Thank you.
Yeah, any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson-Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presnowski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Yes. Thank you. On the mayor's reappointment of Josh Turiel to the Planning Board, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Ryan Roma to serve on the recycling committee, and this is for informational purposes only.
Counselor Presnowski.
Move that this appointment be received and filed.
Counselor Presnowski moves that this be received and filed. Any discussion
No discussion.
further? Okay. Do we need to do roll call vote on that? No. Okay. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $95,625.24 is hereby appropriated from the fund balance reserve for free cash account to the account listed below to fund fiscal year 2022 retroactive wages associated with the April 3rd, 2023 memo of agreement with the Salem Police Superiors Association effective July 1st, 2021.
Counselor McLean.
Thank you, Council President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Counselor McLean moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Counselor McLean.
I further move for adoption.
Mr. McLean moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you. This is an expected expense. From time to time, we are in negotiations with our unions and we need to fund the resolutions that we take on once we reach contract settlements. And we knew that the contract with the Superior Association of the Salem Police was outstanding. And so we knew that we would be in a position to need to cover this. This happens to be a particularly long period dating back to July 1st, 2021, which is why it's such a large sum, but we should pay it.
Any further discussion? On Counselor McLean's motion, that the sum of $95,625.24 appropriated from the free cash to retro wages account. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Farella,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Yes. On the question of $95,625.24 appropriation from free cash to retro wages account, 9 members voting, 9 in the affirmative, 1 answered, absent, matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We've in order to accept the donation from Salem Police Merchandise Fund in the amount of $7,500 for the K-9 program at the Salem Police Department.
Counselor McLean.
Thank you. I move for adoption.
Counselor McLean moves for adoption under discussion.
Always with gratitude for funds that are raised. In this case, they are the proceeds from actual merchandise that was sold in support of the Salem Police Department. But I think we all know and love our current K-9 officer, and so we want to make sure that they're very well taken care of. So we're grateful for the funds.
I know I bought myself a few derby patches. Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Prosnewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Thank you. On the question of $7,500 donation from the Salem Police Department Merchandise Fund for the K-9 program, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We've in order to accept the donation from Friends of the Salem Common in the amount of $4,000 for tree plantings in the Salem Common.
Counselor McLean.
Thank you, Council President. I move for adoption.
For adoption under discussion.
Thank you. This is the matter that we heard from Ms. Moulton on during our public comment period. These funds will be paired with other existing funds to support tree plantings on the Salem Common. And again, we express our gratitude.
Thank you. Any further discussion? As Ms. Moulton said, we should be excited about trees, and I know I am. On the motion to accept the donation of $4,000 for tree plantings in the Salem Common, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Prosnewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen, and Council Stott.
Yes. The question of the $4,000 donation from Friends of Salem Common to the Tree Replacement Fund, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have the following ordinance submitted by the mayor regarding establishing a flag raising policy.
Waive the reading.
Counselor Morcillo,
Waive the reading, please.
Counselor Watson-Felt moves to waive the reading, seeing no objection. Counselor
I-
Morcillo.
Thank you. I move for adoption for first passage.
Counselor Morcillo moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion.
Thank you, President. I will say that if people do have questions and would like it to go to committee, that's fine. I think after our very long discussion last year about a flag policy and kind of kicking it over to the mayor and to see what happens, it's kind of refreshing to see it in writing as an ordinance to clarify what the city is looking for and what we value that our flagpoles be used for in Riley Plaza. And I think it's pretty clear, the ordinance as it's written and the kind of resolution that starts the ordinance. But it really does follow what our discussion was last year and what we saw as the use of the flagpoles. And so I think that we could move for adoption for first passage.
Counselor Dominguez.
Thank you, President Stock. I want to thank Councilor Marcelo for bringing this order. This ordinance, sorry. I just wanted to see how the general public will be educated on this new ordinance, based on the fact that we have many groups, many cities and towns who wanted to have their flag on the Independence Day. And if they are not familiar with the new ordinance, that might create an issue. They might get used to the old one. So how can we allow the general public to know about this new order we have, the new ordinance? Yeah.
Counselor Marcillo.
Thank you, President. That's a great question. I think that the city will be pushing this out through their normal channels, but I do want to point out that the previous routes for raising the flag haven't really changed that much. It still can come from the mayor's office or from the city council. The request, though, is that a 2-week warning be given and that the person fill out an application just so that it clarifies what they expect for the event to organize the event. And Julio has already done this a couple of times this year and is already working on events for the summer. But I hear you. I think we do need to get the information out. And I think also that groups that have been flying the flag in previous years have already made contact with Julio. And we will also, I know his office, we've spoken before about, hey, has somebody already put in this order for this flag? And so he reaches out and, so I think we're trying on all different levels to get the word out.
Counselor Watson-Felt.
Thank you, President Stott. I do have one request, I guess, or one comment for the city that the application be made available online if possible, or at least the means by which to acquire the application be made very clear to the public in one way or another. If it's like call and we'll give it to you, you fill it out, you give it back. I just want to understand and make it easy for folks to access it. That's the only piece of this I don't think is really clearly transparent. So just a recommendation back again. Thanks.
I think there's something on the mayor's page, but it could definitely, I don't know if it's the application or just the policy. So we'll make sure the application. Counselor Merkel.
Thank you, President Stott. Yes, great points made by Councilor Dominguez and Councilor Watson Felt. Some kind of public notification. It can go out on as a city notification via email. And I also want to say that Julio has been a great resource for better communication about the process for flags. I think we have that we didn't have before. Someone to really go to and ask about it. And he's been really helpful for this. And I do just want to express that I feel comfortable for this moving for first passage. Thank you.
Any further conversation? On Councilor Marcillo's motion for first passage for the flag raising policy and ordinance, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presnusky,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Yes. The motion for the ordinance to establish a flag raising policy for first passage, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a letter from the mayor requesting that the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, meet in order for the Chief Financial Officer to provide an update on water and sewer rates.
Councilor Marcillo,
Thank you, President. I move for adoption by a roll call vote.
Councilor Marcillo moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, President. So as you all know, I sent out an email. This meeting is scheduled for May 4th, Thursday, May 4th at 7 o'clock. That gives people hopefully time to come back from the high school event if they are going. There will be a presentation from the consultants that have been used, and they wanted to have this as part of before the budget hearings start to get some of this information on the table.
Thank you. And just to confirm, this is going to Ola because the water and sewer rates are set by ordinance.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Councilor Varela?
Thank you, President Stott. I'm glad to see this come in. I know we've talked about ways to mitigate the increase in price, especially with water and sewer, such as deduct meters. I would like to request if we could have the audience of the city engineer as well with this.
He will be there.
Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presnusky,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
For the letter from the mayor requesting Ola co-post it with the committee of the whole to meet with the CFO and the city engineer to update on water and sewer rates, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, the matter carries. Mayor's informational page.
Following proclamation was submitted by the mayor regarding Arbor Day.
Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, President. Whereas the legislature of the state has adopted an act designating Arbor Day, and by the act has designated the last Friday in April as Arbor Day, and whereas it is the purpose of this designation of this day throughout the nation to encourage the planting of shade and forest trees and to encourage the harvest of our forest crops by approved conservation methods, and to encourage protection of our forests from the scourge of devastating fires, insects, and diseases that destroy the beauty and usefulness of our woodlands, as well as their wildlife. And whereas through the cooperation of all residents of this city, the beneficial effects of the forest tree plantings, proper conservation practices in harvesting timber, and the protection from the natural enemies of the forest can be materially increased, and we can pass on an enduring heritage of a vital natural resource to succeeding generations. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Robert K. McCarthy, Mayor of the City of Salem, Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2023 as Salem Arbor Day and urge everyone able to do so to observe this day by planting of one or more trees and by participating in one or more programs that the sponsors of Arbor Day may provide. And I move that this be received and filed.
Counselor Marcillo moves that this be received and filed under discussion.
Thank you, President. Let me find my paper here. So I did a little research on this one. And I went back to find out when this was originally approved in the state, and it was in 1917, actually. And the real, if I can get through my papers here, I don't know why I found this so fascinating, but it's actually called Arbor and Bird Day. I don't know why we dropped the bird, but anyways, the law says the governor shall annually issue a proclamation setting apart the last Friday in February as Arbor and Bird Day, recommending its observance by the public and the planting of trees, shrubs, and vines, particularly those attractive to birds, and the promotion of forest growth and culture, and the adornment of public and private grounds, places, and ways, and in such other efforts and undertakings as shall harmonize with the general character of the day. He shall further recommend that such day be observed in rural and suburban schools by exercises appropriate to Arbor and Bird Day. So this is still on the books. It's been updated a little bit since 2017, but it still does not have gender neutral language, even though we have a female governor right now. And also is very specific to rural and suburban schools, which I find so interesting. Especially since we've learned so much lately about urban, what are we calling this?
The heat.
Yes, the urban canopy and heat. Yes, thank you. So anyways, we have an opportunity to get free trees planted through the city's street tree program, the Greening of the Gateway Cities program, and the Century Tree program. And information on all three of these programs are found on the Tree Commission page on the city website. In addition, one of the main incentives of the Tree Commission has been education around placement of mulch around tree trunks. Creating beautifully mounded mulch beds can kill your tree. So instead of mounding the mulch around the base of the tree, you need to allow the root flare to be visible and to breathe. You can actually kill your tree this way. And so they are on a huge campaign to get homeowners and even the city maintenance crews to remove the mulch mounds around the trees. It may be something that Martha Stewart likes, but it does not do very well for the trees. Finally, tomorrow is Arbor Day. The city is celebrating with 6th graders at the Collins Middle School, where 5 new native trees will be planted at the Broad Street Playground along the side of the parking lot. And people can stop by between 8:15 and 9:45 tomorrow morning to take part. That's it.
Any further discussion? Counselor Watson-Felt and Counselor Cohen.
Thank you, President Stott. I just wanted to add on a couple of comments to Councilor Marcillo's remarks. So the Greening of the Gateway program particularly does not necessarily apply to every area in Salem, but it's a really easy website to look through. And for those that do qualify, I cannot tell you how much I love my own tree. We've done it and it's amazing. Salem Planting's goal is 2,400 trees, a goal of 2,400 trees. And that number is set based on the area where that has been highly assessed to see what we can keep and maintain. And of that 2,400, only 534 have been planted. Now, on the one side, 534 new trees that were brand new and free to our community is amazing. That having been said, there's still a lot of space left for more new trees. And we really do encourage folks to look into that program and the other programs that Councilor Marcillo already made remark on. I want to add also a personal thanks, having worked with the Tree Commission myself and Darlene Millis, who is the chair, as well as a number of the heads of neighborhood associations at Bridge Street, Neck, particularly, and Flora Tonthat's incredible work at Gedney. There is really beautiful progress happening in Salem around how to address certain heat islands and how to refresh our open spaces. And I just commend them for their commitment, their ongoing dedication, all their work and planning. I mean, we're talking about sessions brainstorming how to water these trees when there's no public source. There's a lot of work and effort and commitment to this program. And I commend the work of the volunteers in Salem that have already seen a number of these trees get planted. And I thank them for their continued efforts.
Counselor Cohen?
Thank you, President Stott. A few things. Of the 2,400 trees, 400 are allocated for municipal properties, and that will be done. For example, the trees that were planted on Washington Street are all part of the Green in the Gateway Cities program. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. The designated areas are still in effect, and so spread the word. When they do plant a tree, the state does a really good job of educating people about how to take care of the tree and how to water it. As a matter of fact, the same kind of event that's happening tomorrow has already happened last year at the Saltonstall School and the Carlton School, where trees were planted and there was events. And I do want to also support Flora Tontat and her group. They have a watering brigade where they've already planned out how to, put the ice melt containers upside down and have them full of water so they never run out of water. And I believe they're going to be planting 18 trees from the program. In 1917, they didn't know the harmful effects of, the human effects on climate crisis. And trees consume a lot of carbon, which is the best way to mitigate the crisis. But there's lots of studies about how a tree canopy, not only, as Councilor Marcilla says, makes it so that the heat zones are not as dangerous, but creates a more positive situation for mental health. People have trees in their yards or their parks, really feel a different ambience. One thing that we do need to do as a city is a lot of ash trees died. For example, Forest River Park, 20 ash trees died near the playground. That's a significant amount of really mature trees. And I think that's happening all around the city. It's very expensive to keep those trees healthy. It's maybe beyond our ability as a city to finance that. But we do have trees that we can use. I do one last thing. Some of the trees on the multi-use path on Canal Street had died, but we had a warranty with the company that planted them, and 25 new trees are going to be planted along the multi-use path.
Thank you. Counselor Varela?
Thank you, President Stott. I just wanted to add for the residents that cannot adopt the program for planting trees within the city, that there are other ways you can do this. I think it's on everyone. If you have property, you should be planting not only trees, but native trees. We do have one nonprofit in particular, the Salem Native Nursery, who specializes in native trees that are very reasonable. So with that, not only planting trees, but native trees and having the neighbors do this within a cost-effective with the Salem Native Nursery. That's it. Thank you.
Any further discussion? On the motion that this proclamation be received and filed, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes, and happy Arbor Day.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Yes. The mayor's on the proclamation for mayor regarding Arbor Day, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Tree excitement. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Varela.
Thank you, President Saad. City of Salem, April 27, 2023, ordered that the Committee on Government Services co-posted with the Committee of a Whole meet and review and discuss a home rule petition for a charter change relative to ranked choice voting. And I'd like to move for adoption.
Council Varela moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you, President Stott. Wanted to bring this in with a couple other counselors. I really believe that it seems like we have enough Salem residents who want to discuss this. And I do believe that we need to have a discussion about a way that we can possibly change the way we vote here in Salem to make sure that everyone's vote counts. And I do believe that ranked choice voting allows that. So let's have a discussion. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Presnowski?
Thank you, President Stott. I met with Bonnie Bain last summer, about this issue and looking forward to further discussing this and having it in government services so that the public has an opportunity to see their choices and make a decision on what they feel is best for the city. I'm looking for that educational part of it, and also a nice robust discussion so that we can all understand what it does and what it can do and what it can't do, and let the voters choice. Thank you.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Varela's motion that the,
I'm sorry, I had my hand
oh,
up.
I'm sorry, Councilor
Sorry.
Merkel, I did not see that. Councilor
It's
Merkel?
hard. It's hard remotely. I know. I just wanted to comment too. I also welcome this coming into committee. I've seen the proposals about it. I've seen the videos, and yeah, it's. I think it really does work towards making every vote count, and encouraging people to run, not worrying about being a spoiler. And also, when it went on the statewide ballot, it had majority support in Salem when it was a statewide ballot question for ranked choice voting. Salem did have a majority in favor, so I think that alone warrants a discussion for our residents. Thank you.
Any further comments? On Councilor Varela's motion for adoption that the Committee on Government Services co-posted with the Committee of the Whole meet to review and discuss a home rule petition. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
So Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presnowski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth, Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Cohen,
Yes.
and Councilor Stott.
Yes. For the question of the Committee on Government Services, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, home rule petition for ranked choice voting, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries.
For the motion, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Stott.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, April 27, 2023, ordered that the Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole meet to review school committee compensation, City of Salem Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 4, Division 11, School Committee, Section 2-142 compensation, and that a recommendation be reported to the council no later than the first meeting in May, that the Human Resources Director shall survey the surrounding cities and towns as well as cities and towns of similar size, and I move for adoption.
Any further discussion? Councilor
Thank
Stott.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I put this order in as school committees on my mind for some reason. And I was reviewing the ordinances that we had along with, the recent discussion that we had regarding the mayor's salary, and that a recommendation had to be done every 2 years and reported to the council on the biennial year, I believe is what it's called. And I was reviewing and I noticed that the school committee had a similar ordinance in the books. Upon further research, I realized that the council has not met on this since 2017. So it's been some time. I think they are due for at least at bare minimum a conversation and a report out from our committee on how we feel their pay is adequate or fair. Similar to council salary pay, it is tied to the mayor's salary. So we will have that further discussion as well within, hopefully, up to the chair in the Administration and Finance Committee before our next meeting.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen, and Counselor Stott.
Yes.
On the order of Councilor Stock, that the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, meet to review school committee compensation. We had 10 voters affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries.
Any further motions, orders? Moving on, committee reports. Counselor Marcillo.
Thank you, President. City of Salem and City Council, April 27th, 2023. Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of granting of certain licenses, tag days, Salem High School Boys Volleyball, May 6th and 7th, 2023, and Salem High School Swim Team, June 4th, October 7th, and 14th, 2023, has considered said matter and would recommend that it be granted.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? On adoption of the recommendation? Any discussion?
No discussion.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. For the committee report, Ola granting certain licenses, tag days for the Salem High School Boys Volleyball and Salem High School Swim Team. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Communications from city officials. Oh, 2 votes. Okay. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. Thank you. And now for the adoption of the committee report that Ola granting certain licenses for tag days for Salem High Boys Volleyball and Salem High Swim Team. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Communications from city officials.
We have the following ordinance and order submitted by the city solicitor relative to sidewalk permits for outdoor seating.
Counselor Marcillo,
Waive the reading.
reading is waived.
Thank you, President. I move that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Counselor Marcillo moves to refer this to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, under discussion.
Thank you, President. So this is, this and the next one combined will work together for the outdoor eating, outdoor seating, for our restaurants. Moving forward, this is for next year and beyond. So I think that there's still a few things that need to be ironed out, and yeah, so we'll go to committee.
Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. The question of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to sidewalk permits for outdoor seating, referred to Ola, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Further communications from city officials?
We have an order there is hereby established a City of Salem outdoor dining policy is set forth, created for the purpose of permitting restaurants to use public ways, sidewalks, and parking spaces to build outdoor dining areas within the limitations and procedures defined in the policy.
Councilor Marcillo?
Thank you, President.
To vote to waive the reading, go Councilor Marcillo.
I move this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Councilor Marcillo moves to refer this to committee under discussion.
So this is the part two. This is the policy that has, I think, a lot that needs to be discussed in here.
Sums it up. Councilor Watson-Felt?
Thank you, President Stott. One brief comment on this. I think we've discussed it in a previous meeting, but just for the public's level of awareness, there is no underlying policy that enables outdoor dining with any kind of sort of design elements, restrictions, safety, and there's just like nothing in place. And we are in this moment where the timing of a policy really matters, because our small business owners, our small restaurant owners, if we were to move forward, need the time to really put in design effort, go through all of the legal channels, all of the city's city zoning, committee channels, all of that. So I'm really glad that we're taking it up. I think this is the right timing. We can't expect that the governor's executive order is just going to sort of be continued in perpetuity. I think it's really responsible to take this conversation up now at this time. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Cohen?
Thank you, President Stott. So at the licensing board meeting on Monday, a few interesting things came up. One, Mr. Kapanis, he's not here anymore, brought up the importance of making these seating areas accessible, and the city solicitor and the licensing board will be issuing information that will be used by anyone who's doing outdoor seating that's been approved by the licensing board. I think there's 23 restaurants that will be and bars that will be approved. The other thing is Deb Grill brought up that some of the Jersey barriers have faded, and there will be a move to kind of update them, whether repainting them or some of the newer places that are going to be involved this year, like Couch Dog Brewing, will have artwork that they work with the public art planner to do. So I think those are very positive for this year.
Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson-Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosnowski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. The question of the order to establish the City of Salem outdoor dining policy being referred to the Committee of Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative, matter carries. Thought these would help. They're not. Petitions.
We have a request from Historic New England to close Chestnut Street to hold the Phillips House Annual Car Show on August 13th, 2023.
Sir Watson-Felt.
Thank you, President Stott. I move that this be granted.
Councilor Watson-Felt moves that this be granted under discussion.
Thank you, President Stott. This is a beloved annual event for the whole area. If folks have not attended the annual car show in the past, I highly encourage it. It's hopefully when the weather is beautiful and not too hot, and definitely sunny. It's really just a lovely day, lovely opportunity to see some historic property and some beautiful cars. So I highly encourage folks to attend, and thanks to Historic New England for hosting.
Thank you. Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, President Stock. I have to agree with the good Councilor Ward too. I when to be present in one of these beautiful events. And one of the things that made me realize is that I'm see so many cars that when I was little I wanted to have. Those cars make me feel like a child and come back to my reality that when I grow up again, I wanted to have one of those cars. So I encourage everyone to come and see it. And I think they're going to have a beautiful moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Sir Presnitsky?
Just for the public's information, do we know what time the streets are going to be closed from?
Excellent question, Counselor. Sorry. No, sorry to be out of order there, President Stott. Apologies. It is not dictated here. We can definitely follow up on that. If you, yeah, sorry. I'm going to check their website right now. It's
Should be in the request, the Madam City Clerk, and I believe it might be all day.
I think it is
The
usually
whole
the whole day.
The cars will arrive by 9 a.m. So I
Yeah.
think it's the whole day, and the function is from noon to 3, so maybe sometime after 3.
9 a.m.
Yeah, I would say that's probably 9 to 5 is probably a fair bet. Thanks.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen, and Council Stott.
Yes. Thank you. The request from Historic New England to close Chestnut Street to hold the Phillips House Annual Car Show, August 13th, 2023. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. The matter carries. Further petitions.
We request from Bella Verona on Essex Street to close Hawthorne Boulevard to Union Street for outdoor seating from May 11th to November 15th, 2023.
Council.
Ooh.
Thank you. Request that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License and Legal Affairs, seeing that this is going to be part of what was introduced earlier by Councilor Marcillo. Thank you.
Further discussion? Councilor Marcillo?
Thank you, President. I do have an amendment for this, if we can add this. And it's simply the police department shall provide data for all vehicle, bicycle, and or pedestrian incidents in or around this area of Essex Street during the past 3 years of permitted outdoor dining. The traffic and parking department shall provide data for any feedback received from the neighborhood regarding the impact of the previous year's street closure for the restaurant's outdoor dining, as well as any measures taken in response to the mitigation of issues caused by the street closure. And the thing here is that this was the only outdoor seating that actually closed a street. And so the police department wasn't comfortable, did not recommend closing it again this year. And so the licensing board wanted the city council to take this up as a street closure, which is how it got here and how it's going to OLA as an ordinance, a request to close the street, basically. So in order to have a full discussion, we need to get this data from those two bodies that have been following all the issues with outdoor dining and be ready for a discussion.
Councilor Cohen?
Thank you, President Stott. I'd like to make a friendly amendment to the amendment. That it says close Hawthorne Boulevard to Union Street, south side only. Because they didn't close the whole street, they only closed one side of it. So I think if they end up getting granted again, it would only be for the south side of the street. That's okay with you?
Well, so this was taken directly from the petitioner's petition, so we can't necessarily, we did update the agenda. That was the amendment to include Essex Street. But that's the petition that's going to go to OLA, and then the OLA recommendation out will definitely be precise on what's being closed. It didn't even say Essex Street in the petition, but it's Essex Street, one south side. Yes, we will make sure that's known.
Withdraw that.
Any further discussion? Councilor McLean?
Thank you, President Stott. I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to the conversation about this. I'm glad that a separate petition came forward because I think this is sort of a particular situation, and I think it was going to help to sort of highlight some of the issues I think will hopefully rise during our broader discussion about our policy relative to outdoor dining. Bella Verona is a wonderful business. It's the first sort of established date night that I had with my wife when we first moved to Salem. It's nice and small and intimate, but it is nice and small and intimate. And so I think that the additional space that they are requesting really does have an impact on their ability to do business. And I think that there are some important equity issues that I hope we'll get into as we have that kind of discussion, because I think something that I have noticed as we have sort of debated and enjoyed outdoor dining in the city is that businesses that tend to have a larger footprint tend to have a larger footprint for their outdoor dining as well. And for a business that is really small like this one, it really has a big impact even when you can bring a little bit of that outdoor dining, but there is a lot of tension with the closure of a street. So I'm really looking forward to how we engage that discussion and how we sort of try to balance some of those concerns as we come up with our outdoor dining policy.
Thank you. Counselor Watson-Felt?
Thank you, President Saad. I was going to save this for the conversation, but since it's not co-posted, I thought, and since Councilor McLean brought up equity, I'd like to just make an additional comment for everyone's consideration going into this conversation. Generally big supporter of outdoor dining, love it, good for our businesses, good for our community. When we think about business equity, it's important to acknowledge that our retailers are not granted the same level of obstruction of space as our restaurant owners are. And that is something that we need to take really seriously. So when a sidewalk closure is requested by a retailer, there are multiple hoops. They generally have to have, it is helpful for them to have the support of nonprofit organizations like the Salem Main Streets and Salem Chamber. I think our retailers work extremely hard. They are also small business owners. And so this concept of like, what are we allowing and how much public space are we allowing to be used for one kind of business, but not another? I do think it has to be a part of the conversation. I know that there are sensitivities out there about this amongst our small business community. And I don't want that to boil into any kind of, larger problem between neighbors, essentially, right? So I just offer that comment for consideration to the OLA committee when they begin to think through this. Thanks.
Any further discussion? Alice. Counselor Merkel?
Thank you, President Stott. Yes, not being a member of OLA, I'd like to offer an opinion as well. Great points made, Councillor Watson-Felt. It is a sensitive issue, and there are equities. It's a lot harder on some restaurants that don't have the space or the ability to have outdoor dining. But that being said, being a road closure and then just being one way, I do have serious safety concerns. I'm at that intersection a lot. It's very busy, and I look forward to hearing what conversation the OLA committee has and when it comes back to council, because I do want to express that I have safety concerns with this. Thank you.
Is this co-posted with committee of the whole? Will there be an amendment, friendly amendment? Counselor Watson-Felt?
Thank you, President Saad. I would make a friendly amendment that the original petition be changed to referred to the Committee of Ordinances, License, Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole for further discussion.
Counselor Marcella's amendment, seconded by Counselor Dominguez. Okay. So yeah, all we're amending is the motion, the petition. So we have two amendments to the motion. If Counselor Presnowski accepts that, we're referring it to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, along with the data requests.
Sorry, point of clarity. Does Counselor Marcella's amendment need a second as well? Because that hasn't happened yet. And I'm happy to second that. Okay, thank you.
Dot our eyes. Any further discussion? Good. As amended? Okay. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson-Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presnowski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen, and Counselor Stott.
Yes. The request from Bella Verona to close Essex Street at Hawthorne Boulevard to Union Street for outdoor seating, May 11th to November 15th, 2023, was referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole and with the Police Department and Traffic and Parking Department data request as well. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a list of licensed applications for public guides, taxi operators, taxi cab limo, and vehicle for hire operators only.
Counselor Marcillo.
Thank you, President. I move that these be granted.
Counselor Marcillo moves that these be granted. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosnewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth, Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. The following license applications, public guides, taxi operators, taxi cab limos, and vehicle for hire operators only be granted. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a following license applications for a tag day.
Counselor Marcillo.
Thank you, President. I move that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Counselor Marcillo moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, Legal Affairs. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosnewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. The following license application tag day, Salem High School Marching Band was referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 4 claims.
Counselor Marcillo.
Thank you, President. I move that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Counselor Marcillo moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosnewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth, Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. On the following claims for Kathleen Boucher, James Florial, Marty Hall, and Scott Perry were referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Petitions, further petitions.
We have 5 drain layer contract operator licenses.
Counselor Marcillo.
Thank you, President. I move that these be granted.
Counselor Marcillo moves that these be granted. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosnewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen,
Yes.
and Counselor Stott.
Yes. The following drain layer contract operator licenses for A. Ruderman, Daniela Line Services, EKE Equipment, and Murray Masonry and NCCL Enterprises be granted. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Unfinished business.
With the second passage of an ordinance amending an ordinance relative to traffic, chapter 42, sections 51, 51B, 74, and 75 for Federal Street.
Counselor Watson Felt.
Thank you, President Stott. I move for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote.
Counselor Watson Felt moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion.
No discussion. No discussion. People should call me if they have questions.
Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Watson Felt,
Yes.
Counselor Varela,
Yes.
Counselor Prosnewski, Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Merkel,
Yes.
Counselor McLean,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth, Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Cohen, and Counselor Stott.
Yes. The second passage for ordinance amending an ordinance relative to traffic, chapter 42, sections 51, 51B, 74, and 75 Federal Street. Move for adoption for second and final passage. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending an ordinance relative to traffic, chapter 42, sections 58, 51, 56, 74, and 75 for Federal Street.
Sir Watson Felt.
Thank you, President Stott. I move for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote.
Counselor Watson Felt moves for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote. Any discussion?
Nope.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Prosnewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Yes. On the question of the second passage of ordinance amending an ordinance relative to traffic, chapter 42, sections 58, 51, 56, 74, and 75 Federal Street, moved adopt it for second and final passage. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending a traffic ordinance relative to Hazel Street.
Counselor Cohen.
I thank you, Council President Stott. I move for adoption for second passage.
Counselor Cohen moves for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote. Under discussion?
Very excited.
Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Prosnewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Yes. On second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, section 50A, Article 5, Hazel Street, move for adopt it for second and final passage. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending a traffic ordinance, chapter 42, section 50B, handicap park in Washington Square.
Counselor Watson Felt.
Thank you, President Stott. I move for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote.
Counselor Watson Felt moves for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote. Madam, any discussion?
None.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela, Council Prosnewski, Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen,
Yes.
and Council Stott.
Yes. Thank you. For the second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, chapter 42, section 50B, handicap parking, Washington Street, adopt it first, Washington Square. Thank you. Moved for adoption for second and final passage. 10 members voting, 10 in the affirmative. Matter carries. Anything further? Well, I have, oh. Counselor Dominguez?
Yes, I just wanted to take this opportunity to say a happy birthday for one of our special colleagues who actually has been present today on working full-time. If you see the agenda, she took over. So today is a special day and we wanted to wish a very, very happy birthday to our good Councilor Ward 3, Patty Marcello. And we want to sing happy birthday to Patty. We're going to do it in English and Spanish, if you don't mind. So let's do the English version now. 1, 2,
Your microphone.
3. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Patty.
Happy
birthday to you. And we'll do the Spanish version. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Cumpleaños feliz. Cumpleaños de Patty. Cumpleaños feliz. Yes.
I'm sorry to be missing that cake.
We'll save you a piece.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Adjourn.
So, yep, she still needs.
Still roll call vote, yeah. As much as we want to dive right into that cake. Happy birthday, Patty. Counselor Dominguez? Oh,
Without further ado, we are making order to adjourn.
the motion to adjourn, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Watson Felt,
Yes.
Council Varela,
Yes.
Council Presmuski, Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council Merkel,
Yes.
Council McLean,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Cohen, and Council Stott.
Yes. In honor of my old boss, I will say till next time, take care of yourselves and each other. On the motion to adjourn, 10 members voting, 10 in the positive. We are adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, Council Merkel.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy the cake.